This is the Body Fuel Performance and Lifestyle Nutrition Podcast. We're here to help you navigate all things nutrition, especially for sports performance, weight loss, and healthy eating. I'm your host, Andrew Dole, registered dietitian, certified executive chef, and USA triathlon coach. Here we go. Hey everybody, thanks for listening and or watching again today. It's Andrew Dole with Body Fuel. I want to start off today with a quote that I pulled from Lance Armstrong. I was in a doctor's office and I was there to meet with him to see if I could send some referrals his way. He was a more sports oriented doctor, so I don't have to argue with him about why I want certain things done, like specifically females, like I need iron done or I need vitamin D or you name it for age groupers. It's nice to work with an individual who understands that people are athletes and they're not just sick coming in for a flu shot or something like, diabetes. So in his office, he had a video playing, and in the back, it was a motivational speech, and they used a Lance Armstrong quote. And I don't know about you, but like if I have to stop or slow down, like I always feel like it's a bad thing because if I don't want to open the door for the next time. Like if I quit now, I'm just going to quit again. Or I'm going to stop early or stop short. And over the last several years of triathlon, I kind of figured out, look, sometimes you have to cut it short. Sometimes you have to know when to be like, look, today's not the day. But in races or in other places where you have stopped or I have stopped, I know that I have thought about it for weeks. Like I couldn't sleep. I would run it over in my mind 100 times. Like, why did I do this? And I felt, I think, more terrible for the next month or 2 months, or sometimes like, I don't know, like a year I go back to some performances and I'm like, oh, why? And it probably hurts worse than what I was actually going through at the time. And so Lance Armstrong is attributed for this quote. And so for those of you who are listening, I'm going to read it to you. Pain is temporary. It may last a minute or an hour or a day or a year, but eventually it will subside and something else will take its place. If I quit, however, it lasts. Amen, without a doubt. So, show topics for today. The Harambee Project. I'm going to go hang out with Ryan Bolton and his elite cadre of runners in New Mexico, and that's super exciting, so we'll talk more about that. Ryan Bolton was an Olympic triathlete and a little bit more. We'll talk about his Ironman wins. Product review, we're going to talk about the Polar Zipstream cap. You're like, how exciting can a cap to a water bottle be? Well, if you're super active and you use them a lot, this is pretty exciting because I've spilt stuff all over the place and it's irritating. And then flaxseed, what you thought you knew. Thanks, Jeannie Ranger's Brevort, for I was talking about my next podcast and I said, hey, I'm going to talk about omega-3s and omega-6s. And she wasn't really into it. And I said, yeah, flaxseed's kind of a waste. And she's like, what? Flaxseed? Now you got me. That's what you need to lead with. So I led with it. So we'll see if it caught you. But we're going to talk about omega-6, the ratios, omega-3s, and certain products that I think are not explained very well in regular articles or media. So you may be wasting money on things thinking you're getting something that you're truly not. All right, so let's move forward with the Harambee Project. What does it even mean? It's Swahili for as a group we can achieve more. I think a lot of us can relate to something called the group effect or steel sharpens steel. When you get around a bunch of faster people or better people, you begin to perform at that level or at least begin to move up to that level. The Harambee Project is Ryan Bolton's coaching project for some elite marathoners and runners. BEST is his training program or his training business down in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Who is Ryan Bolton? Well, let me just start off with Ryan Bolton was trained by Joel Friel. Mentored. That's pretty significant. Anybody in the sport of triathlon understands who Joel Friel is. The Joel Friel Bible, Triathlon Bible, Training Peaks. What a great mentor to have. He currently is training his individuals in Santa Fe. But where does he come from and why is it a big deal? Well, he's a white guy and he's a triathlete. So why would he be training elite African marathoners? That was like a big question. And it's Probably has to do with his approach to running. Very intuitive. If you read what he writes, he talks about data, but then he also says, yeah, data is great and we can see where an athlete is going. But sometimes, what about just running in a group? What about that group effect? What about a whole bunch of people getting together and pushing one another and suddenly getting better? So I think he's got a really neat approach. I met him at a slow twitch coaching seminar that I was getting CEUs for my USAT triathlon coach certification. I enjoyed his running clinic. He taught us a lot. It's some interesting things about how to touch your finger to your chin while you're running to make sure your arms are in the right place. It was kind of bizarre at first, but it really does help you monitor your form from the head down. So what does Ryan Bolton do, or what had he done in the past? A Wyoming kid himself, all-American runner, collegiate athlete, goes into the sport of triathlon. He ends up making an appearance in the 2000 Olympics, when I think it was the first debut of triathlon in the Olympics. And then in 2002, the guy goes from Olympic distance to Ironman Lake Placid 2002 winner. Lake Placid is known to be a bitch of a course, and this guy blows it up and takes first. So, right, nice job. I'm super looking forward to hanging out with him. That happens September 21st through about the 22nd or the 23rd. I'm hoping to podcast live from there. I have so many questions to ask the runners and him about running and nutrition and stretching and just running philosophy and how that applies to us as age groupers. I know we'll never be elites, but there has to be some good trickle down. I'm particularly interested in the nutrition. I want to see what they're doing. Is it just intuitive? How does that work? So look forward to more of that. So thanks, Ryan, for having me down. I appreciate that. And I will give out all the information I possibly can. His web address is boltonendurance.com, and it's BEST, Bolton Endurance Sports Training. You can find that on the web. All right, so the product review, moving on. So here we go. Sports Cap by Polar Bottle. Why is this a big deal? Polar Bottles are cool all the way around because it has cold fluid on the inside, and we absorb and have better gastric emptying rate for cold fluid. Plus, it's a little bit more enjoyable than hot stuff sloshing around in your mouth and in your belly all day. But what does it have to do with the cap, and why would you spend $4.99 to replace them? Well, if you guys are familiar with running with anything sticky inside your bottle that's not water, if you ever go to pull the cap with your teeth, or you squeeze accidentally during the running motion, or the up motion shoots the water out of the top, you get all the sticky mess on your hands. And I don't know about you, but that's really annoying when it's like 80 degrees and I have sticky mess on my hands. Or you get it on your face because you opened it with your teeth and now your face is sticky. It's just miserable. Or what about the times where you've gone to throw your bottle in your bag, you forgot to pop the top all the way down to close it, and now you have water or worse, like EFS sugary sticky stuff all over your bag and your clothes. Trust me, you know you've been there, I've been there. This cap self-seals. It's got a membrane on the inside that after you push it, it closes itself. Creates a little bit of pressure on the inside of the bottle, which makes sure that it has a strong squirting stream when you do squirt it. But if it tips to the side or you go to pull it with your teeth, that little vacuum seal there in the flap prevents all that liquid from shooting back onto your hand, all over your face, all over the place. So would I spend $5 to replace my caps? Absolutely. I appreciate Polar for sending this to me. It's probably one of those little things that I never would have thought of doing, but once I've got it, oh my God, I gotta have more. So I hope you guys try at least one or two of them and you no longer get those inadvertent spills all over the place. And enough with the product review. Flaxseed, what you thought you knew. We're going to talk about omega-6 and omega-3, and I'm going to slow it down just a tiny bit here because I really want you to understand what these are, how they impact us as a whole, like a society, as humans, and then individually, and what products we may be wasting money on because the regular media doesn't explain it very well. So omega-6 and omega-3s, what are they? They are essential fatty acids. What that means essentially is that our body cannot make them. So we have to get them from food sources, hence the word essential. Omega-6 is necessary. It is the on switch or the components to build the inflammation units that sort of says, okay, hey body, we need to be inflamed for certain reasons, which are good. So they're the building blocks. However, its function is as a pro-inflammatory. And I wanted to explain it as, yes, we need it, yes, we do, but we don't need it in the abundance that we get it in the Western diet. So I don't want you to think it's all bad, but it is somewhat bad in the amount that we get. So omega-6 fat type is linoleic. The sources for this are vegetable oils, primarily corn, sunflower, peanut, and soybean, grains, and grain-fed meats. So the turn for the meat industry to start feeding with grain is, one, it's cheaper, it's faster, and we can get more marbled. Like, as consumers, I get it. So from a chef perspective, yeah, we like that marbled meat. It's got fat. Fat is flavor. From a chef perspective, culinary, fat transfers flavor from a science perspective. So you have to have fat to move the flavors across, onto our tongue. So we need them, but the grain-fed meats, they're contributing to an overabundance of omega-6s. Processed and packaged foods have vegetable oils in them. Corn, sunflower, soybean, peanut, they're all there. And we eat a lot of packaged and processed foods. I'm not going to lie, they're convenience. It happens. So what it's doing is creating this awkward imbalance of the pro-inflammatories with its balance, the anti-inflammatories, which are called omega-3s. The Western diet right now has an omega-6 to omega-3 ratio of about 15-1. Now, some of the research that I've read was like we should be around 4-1 to 1-1. Now, I don't think it's possible to get 1-1. Like, we're not Paleolithic anymore. We're not cavemen. It's just simply not going to happen. Let's be realistic. 4-1, I think, is completely reasonable if we watch what we eat. And it is very possible that the root of some of our chronic inflammation diseases, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, maybe even some of our irritable bowel disease, arthritis, could be part of this omega-6, omega-3 imbalance because we simply get too many. Processed and packaged foods, I think, are partially the root. So what's the opposite or the opposing force to omega-6 since we're getting plenty of corn and sunflower and soybean and peanut? It's omega-3. Omega-3's function is to act as the anti-inflammatory switch. So when we eat omega-3s, it provides the body the byproducts, or the products, to create the anti-inflammatory precursors to balance out, right, like a balance beam. And those fat types are alpha-linoleic and EPA DHA. That's the omega-3 versions. You might have heard about EPA DHA quite a lot. You probably haven't heard about ALA. It's not big in the news, and there's not a lot of science that says it's good for us from like a cardiovascular disease. If we take pills of ALA supplementation, it's not helping us. But EPA DHA from sources of fish and such, we do have some a great deal of research that it's super beneficial. Well, let me back up just a tiny bit. So the omega-3s, their function is anti-inflammatory. They counteract that omega-6 pro-inflammatory process. Now, the omega-6 pro-inflammatory process, we know that a diet high in omega-6s actually does create this status or this body system of inflammation. Omega-3s need to be balanced against that to kind of manage that, and we want about a 4-1. Now, I don't expect you guys to find that in any food logging program. MyFitnessPal can't help with that. The simple solution in the middle of this entire podcast is eat more fruits and vegetables and find some sources of EPA DHA, which I'm going to go over, and eliminate as much processed packaged foods as possible, and don't buy vegetable oils. Name me a vegetable oil. Name me a vegetable that you go squeeze to get an oil out of. No, it doesn't happen. So what vegetable oils are actually vegetable seed oils. Those seed oils are very high because they are grains and omega-6s. So if you had a choice to go purchase something, I highly recommend that you guys convert over to an olive oil or a canola oil or an avocado oil. Just get away from the corn and the vegetable oils altogether. What a great start for low-hanging fruit to improve your diet and your omega-6, omega-3 balance. Now back to omega-3 specifically. There were two types of that omega-3, alpha-linoleic and EPA DHA. The alpha-linoleic is just a basic omega-3. It comes from leafy greens, tofu, flaxseed, and I know you've heard about that, walnuts, canola oil, winter squashes. Lots of green leafy stuff will give us that omega-3 balance to that anti-inflammatory process. Now, when you read an article about omega-3s, they always start with EPA DHA, and they cite a bunch of literature sources that show you how fish oil, krill oil, or EPA DHA supplements improve cardiovascular disease, how it has improvements in depression, mental disorders. There are lots of known benefits to EPA DHA, but those sources are marine sources from fish oil, krill oil, or if you're vegan, an algae omega. Now, there are some fortified sources of EPA DHA, like I know you've seen those eggs that have omega-3 that cost an extra $2. There are some dairy that have omega-3, the EPA DHA fortified in there as well. If you have the means to buy that, please do. But I don't want you to go buy flax seeds, walnuts, and chia seeds thinking that you're going to get EPA DHA in a reasonable quantity. The reason why is because the human body, we can eat ALA sources, things like leafy greens, tofu, flax seeds specifically, okay? I'm going to use that one as my example. We can eat those and we'll get lots of omega-3s, but we're not animals like like mice or rats or fish even, who when they eat an algae or these plant-based products, they convert really efficiently the ALA to EPA DHA. We humans, we don't do that. We would have to eat so much of a walnut or flaxseed or chia seed quantity that it's practically impossible. So what I don't want you to do is buying flaxseed saying, oh, it's cheaper than fish oil. I'm going to get this EPA DHA that I read all about cardiovascular health or helping me balance like some of my hormones or mental depression type things. That's not the case. You're not going to convert very well. When you're looking for EPA DHA sources, it's best to consume direct sources of EPA DHA. Essentially, let the animals consume the food, convert it, store it in their fat, and then eat the fish. Eat the fatty fish, eat the fish oil, get the krill oil, or buy some of the fortified sources. So the bottom line is don't go buy flaxseed thinking you're getting EPA DHA. Yeah, you're getting omega-3, but okay, look. You can buy a bag of omega-3 in bulk from Sprouts for like $6.99 a pound, and you can sprinkle them on your salad, and most of the time, hey, I hate to say it, I'm a dietitian. We talk about poop all the time. You're going to poop most of that seed out, and you're not even going to digest it. Okay, so you get ground flaxseed, sure, but you can't add that to everything. So it's one of those, sure, if you buy it, it's a great addition, but are you really making a meaningful change to your diet? I would say no. Back to the low-hanging fruit. What should you do? Eat lots of green leafy stuff. Eat some walnuts. Change your cooking oil to canola or an olive. Now, I didn't say extra virgin olive. I just said olive oil. And there's no reason to spend a ton of money on all extra virgin olive oil to cook. Olive oil is just fine. Eat some winter squash. Eat lots of fruits and vegetables and eliminate those processed packaged foods. You do that, and there's no need to go buy a whole bunch of flax seeds. Now, is there a need to have an EPA DHA supplement in your diet? If you don't eat fish 2 to 3 times a week, absolutely. You should be buying some source of EPA DHA. EPA DHA is a type of omega-3, but it is very specific and it is absolutely necessary. And the evidence based on EPA DHA for health benefits is clear. So don't go eating a bunch of fruits and vegetables saying, hey, I'm getting EPA DHA. No, that's not the case. I still want to recommend to you that you get some source of EPA DHA directly. Now, again, that's fish, fatty fish, halibut, salmon, albacore tuna, what's the other one? Trout. So you get those, eat them. Wonderful. If you don't eat a lot of fish, you don't like fish, you grew up in the Midwest and you don't believe fish is something you should eat off the coast, then you need a fish oil or a krill oil. How much do you need? I'd probably say between 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams every other day. I don't think you need to take it every day. It also gets exceptionally expensive. So, bottom line, what's going on with us right now? Omega-6s, we eat way too many. It's coming from processed, packaged, convenience foods. Even those awesome little foods that you get that are supposed to be healthy for you, they probably have corn, sunflower, soybean, or a peanut oil. If you eat a lot of grain-fed meat or a ton of grains, your balance is off. What can you do? Simple, low-hanging fruit solution, eat lots of leafy greens. Switch your cooking oil over to canola oil, avocado oil, or an olive oil. Get some walnuts in your diet. And if you don't eat a bunch of fish, and you should eat fish 2 to 3 times a week, you need to get a fish oil supplement or a krill oil. And if you're vegan, there are algae omega available through Nordic Naturals. It's a product that I highly recommend. And if you're interested in that, you can message me and I can send you an awesome link and get you a pretty good deal, discount, probably cheaper than what you can get in the store. So that's omega-6 and omega-3 in a nutshell. Don't waste money on flaxseed. It's not worth it. Besides, you're probably not getting what you think you were getting anyway. I appreciate you watching. As always, you can reach me at aDole@bodyfuelspn.com. You can definitely jump on Facebook to Body Fuel Sports Performance, or we have a great group, Body Fuel Multisport, that's linked. Join up. Join us. Ask to be a part of the group. You don't even have to be in Colorado, but you can message me and message all of us, and I answer and really build my podcasts and information that I write and my blogs on the stuff that people ask me. That's sort of the root of what I talk about. I love to talk to you guys, looking for all of the information that I can give you. And YouTube channel is something I'm trying to build right now. So I'm going to post this video on Facebook, but I'm also going to put it on YouTube to try to build that channel. So if you would, I'd love you to go there, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm looking for like 100 users. It gives me some really neat new functionality that you don't get if you don't have the users. So I'm going to flat out tell you, help me out. Join my YouTube channel. I would appreciate it. I'm going to throw the links on the page on Facebook when you're looking at this, and this will be on SoundCloud if you want to listen and you don't want to see. Otherwise, thank you very much, and if you have any questions, you get a hold of me. Thanks. Bye-bye.